I'm Drake and this is Key Breakthrough. By the end of this video, you will know whether the Roland Juno-D is pro enough for you or not. All right, let's jump in with build quality. This thing is not heavy at all. This is the 61 key version, 12 pounds. The 76 key version is 15 and the 88 is about 32 pounds. So these are on the lighter side of keyboards. All right, now build quality, you're getting the same build quality that you would get with the Roland FANTOM O. So the build quality is pretty good. Everything's solid. The key bed is the same key bed in the FANTOM O. The knobs, sliders, everything feels pretty good. These buttons are actually the buttons that you would get on the big FANTOM, all right, on the flagship FANTOM. So this is pretty cool. They have these knobs here, or these buttons. Touchpads, they're the basic Roland touchpads. They're not velocity sensitive, but they're pretty good rubber filling touchpads. All the buttons here are, pretty basic buttons, solid. So overall, the build quality is good. It's a good build quality. You're not going to break this. Okay, so let's take a look at the ports. As you see here, there's a USB-C port that I have my phone connected to right now. I just tried it. You can work MIDI and audio through this USB port. It doesn't power devices, but you can power the keyboard. If you have a strong enough power block, you can actually power the whole keyboard through this port. But once again, you can't power things with it. But to have USB and MIDI going through USB-C on the keyboard, we've been waiting for that for a long time. This keyboard has it. Memory slot, USB-A for putting samples in or operating system updates. That's always welcome. Over here we have the hold pedal slot input, the control pedal input, MIDI in, MIDI out. All right, we have a mic input. All right, that's you can plug up a mic, dynamic. It's not phantom powered. You could also plug up instruments and have that come through there as well. There's a 3.5 millimeter input over here as well. So you have another input. We have two balanced output and the headphone out. Okay, so even though it's few inputs, these are really useful inputs and outputs. They give you USB-C, MIDI, audio, and they give you mic in. So I think it's pretty much pro for the outputs and inputs of this keyboard. Next, let's talk about sound. Now the sound quality is pretty much the same that you're going to get with the Roland FANTOM O. That whole theme is there with the Zen core. You get over 3,800 sounds. I've used this on a couple gigs already and I actually got compliments because it sounded good. The quality of the sounds, the samples they use. Of course, the synth section is awesome. This keyboard sounds good. All right, let's talk features. Is this pro enough for features? I say yes and no, all depending on what you would need. The reason I say yes is because even though this layout is pretty simple, this board you can still do a deep dive on your sound edits. Now it's going to take some menu diving. I'll show you here. Let's say you want to jump into the EQ. Now that took a while for me to figure out. I had to watch videos and figure out what's the fastest way or just a simple way to do EQ, because looking on board on screen, there's not much. You see a little button, a little screen here that says EQ. And by the way, this is not touch screen. Okay, I kept touching the screen because I'm so used to working the FANTOM O. No, this is not touchscreen. So you had to push shift and then EQ. This button lights up at the bottom. It shows you 2 EQ. And that still doesn't take you to the EQ menu. It just turns the EQ on and off. Same with the effects, the MFX, the IFX, the chorus, and the reverb, right? So it took me some watching videos to figure out, okay, how do we do things? And this is how you can change the EQ on the fly while you're performing, because you don't want to take 2 hands off to do EQ if you're performing. So you do the EQ on the fly by touching knob assignment. You'll click on the knob assignment. Then these first 3 knobs will be your EQ. All right, the screen shows you low, mid, and high, right? And the last knob is for reverb. All right, so that's not clear. I had to figure that out. But yeah, this way you can change your EQ on the fly. So that's pretty cool that you could do that. I was worried at first, but to be able to do that is so important. So you can do deep dives on different things, but you definitely have to deep dive on the menus. Yes, it's very menu divey. The features are pretty good, but they stop becoming a pro will be used to when you can't access it in a fast manner. Okay, for a minute, let's go to the left side of the keyboard. This is where things stop getting pro for me, because if you were to layer a sound, I'll show you a layer that I made. Let's see here. Right, I have 4 sounds, all right, layered: piano, EP, pad, and string. On a pro level keyboards, you should be able to just touch the sliders or the knobs and you work each of those layers. This one, not so easy, not so fast. You can't. The first 2, you can control part 1 and part 2, but that's where it stops. So the other 4 parts you got to actually control by using extra buttons over here. I have to scroll over. I have to use the wheel for part 3 and part 4. On a YouTube video, I saw someone say that you can control the other parts with the 3rd slider, but I don't think so. If so, once again, it's not clear. It's not easy to figure out. Maybe the manual could tell me, but this is labeled phrase pad. So that's basically talking about the right section, the phrase pad section over here. So if you have a beat going over here, this controls the volume for that. Or samples going, this controls the volume for that. This one says mic, so it's dedicated to control the volume if you had something plugged in, a mic or another synth. All right, whether they're going to change this in a software update, I hope they do. But this keeps it from being pro over this way, where you want to just turn up the volume to your layers. Now let's get to the right side, the phrase pad. Now we're still talking about features on whether this is pro or not. And this is where things get, it all depends on what you need, right? So the phrase pad, when I saw this, I got excited. I said, oh man, because I'm familiar with the phrase pad or the pad section on the Phantom O. But this here does a fraction of what the Phantom O can do. All right, so the pad, it's limited. It's limited. So that kind of hinders it from being fully pro in my book. And I'll try to show you what I mean. So let's say if we want, let's get to just an initial patch here. Let's say we're initial patch. And I want to play drums. And this is probably the best feature, the rhythm button. Because if you want a quick backing track, and I'm about to touch the screen again, this is not a touch screen. I had to learn that. But intro, it gives you a cool beat, and you can change it on the fly, all in timing to the next verse, different section of the song. And it's an awesome feature. And of course, you can do this while you're playing. All right, and just like you hit it again if you want it to stop. So just like the other boards, you can change the style, rock, funk, jazz. And some of these beats are decent, and you can also change the drum sets that play it. So if you don't like a certain sound of the drum set sound, you can change it. So this is really, really useful feature for people that are performing that just need some type of drum track. All right, let's try the R&B. Go to the verse. Let's go to the hook. Right? So everything moved in time, right? That's really cool feature. That's probably my favorite feature of the phrase pad. Sequencer, okay, you could dive in, you can sequence it. They give you 8 tracks, and one track, like I said, always has to be the drum track, which is the R track, they call it. So you got 7 other tracks. You could put different sounds, of course, on each track. Let's see here, you got a TR mode, a step sequencer mode right here. You can control of course, the tempo, the shuffle, the step length. You know, right now, let's see what the step. Oh, sorry, if I can get back into it. You can see what the step length is. It goes all the way up to, I believe, 64. Scale control. Switch, count in, you can change your count in all the way up to 16. That's pretty cool. All right, so the sequencer is decent. It's not bad, but it's limited. If that's enough for you, then that's great. So they have an erase button. That's really useful, like an undo button. But even that, when you hit it, it takes you to a screen. So you still have to kind of select, which is okay. I guess they give you options on what you want to delete. Other than that, the audio mode, so correct me if I'm wrong on this, but the audio mode only works if you have a USB thumb drive and files, MP3 or AIFF files sitting on there already. When you plug it in, it automatically pops up when you're in audio mode, and it populates the pads. Now I tried this a little bit, and like it works okay. I'm still trying to figure out how to master it. But you can put each song or each sample. It'll populate each pad. You could do it so the loop will be off, or you could put the loop on by the scroll wheel. Well, it's not working now. Oh, that's interesting. Anyway, all right. So let's go over to the mute. Now this comes back and ties in to layering. Now let's pull up my layer that I had before. Let's go to this one. So when you're on mute mode, it takes whatever the cursor is on, it'll take that, and that will become the main layer, if you will. And if you go and say, you know what? I don't want the strings in here, you just hit the 4, since the strings are on layer 4. And you can say, you know what, I don't want the synth pad. Take that off. You can keep going down until you have a single. So let's add them back. So that's pretty a pro feature, I think, to be able to play. If you want to go to a certain part of the song, you just hit a button. Now, the first layer is green over here. So if you hit that button, watch what happens. It mutes everything except for the first layer. All right, so you can change that and say, you know what, I want that to be for the second layer. Boom. All right, so that's pretty cool once you figure out how it works. So overall, is this pro enough for you? I think, of course, you're gonna have to decide that. Other than that, this is a decent board for the price. Right now, brand new, it's going for $900. But I think if you need something that sounds good and is built well, this is pro enough for that. All right, well, thank you for watching this video. I'm Drake, and this is Key Breakthrough. If this was helpful, please like and subscribe. I got more videos coming. Thank you.